Hi, I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Welcome back to Miss Cleo's Storytelling Corner. During the week, I had this feeling that I, listening to people talk and reading some things, I came across survival humor. And we're very good at survival humor. The deep message in the humor. And I'm going to be reading to you today from the African American Book of Values. I'm not sure this book is still in print, but I'm sure you can get it if you would like to get one. There's just tons of stories about African Americans. Our history, our humor, our stories. And it's really wonderful to read to your children, to read to yourself. So I'm going to read you survival humor. And it reminds me somewhat of when I was young, and we used to call it ranking. Remember, we used to sort of have a contest of who could out-talk who and who'd get up on who. Well, this is kind of like that survival humor, and we've been doing that for a long, long time, and I'm sure it is part of our survival in the United States. So the first one I'm going to read you is A Laugh That Meant Freedom. There were some slaves who had a reputation of keeping out of work because of their wit and humor. These slaves kept their masters laughing most of the time and were able, if not to keep from working altogether, at least to draw the lighter task. Nehemiah was a clever slave, and no master who had owned him had ever been able to keep him at work or succeed in getting him to do heavy work. He would always have some funny story to tell or some humorous remark to make in response to the master's question or scolding. Because of this faculty for avoiding work, Nehemiah was constantly being transferred from one master to another. As soon as an owner found out that Nehemiah was outwitting him, he sold Nehemiah to some other slaveholder. One day, Dave Wharton, known as the most cruel slave master in Southwest Texas, heard about him. "I bet I can make that rascal work," said Dave Wharton. And he went to Nehemiah's master and bargained to buy him. The morning of the first day after his purchase, Dave Wharton walked over to where Nehemiah was standing and said, "Now you are going to work, you understand? You are going to pick 400 pounds of cotton today." "Wow, Massa, that's all right," answered Nehemiah. "But if I mix, you laugh, won't you let me off for today? Well, said David Wharton, who had never been known to laugh, if you make me laugh, I won't only let you off for today, but I'll give you your freedom. I declare, boss, said Nehemiah, you sure is awful good-looking man. I am sorry I can't say the same thing about you, retorted Dave Wharton. Oh, yes, boss, I could, Nehemiah laughed out. You could if you told as big a lie as I did. Dave Wharton could not help laughing at this. He laughed before he thought. Nehemiah got his freedom. Do you know somebody like that? Somebody who could always make you laugh, who's always into mischief, and no matter what he did, he always got away, and he always got the upper hand. Do you know somebody like that? Well, I did. His name was Bill Jenkins. If any of you remember Bill, he got into a lot of trouble, but he sure could get out of a lot of trouble. And we all loved him. I'm sure you could think of somebody that could always get out of things. We always had to use our minds to get what we needed, because that's all we had to use, because our bodies were enslaved. Think of that as I read you this next little story. And the name of this, let me see, Two Friends and a Bear. Now this may be a little lesson to us, and we're even learning this lesson today, unfortunately, when we call people our friends, right? You remember these tales. This is called Two Friends and the Bear. Two friends, they were on a journey together. They had to go through a thick swamp that was full of bears and other vermins. They promised to stand for one another and to help one another out if the vermins should attack them. They didn't get halfway through the swamp when a big black bear jumped out of the bushes and made for them. Instead of standing by his friend, one of the men left and climbed a tree. The other man had heard that bears wouldn't eat dead people. So he lay down on the ground and held his breath and shut his eyes and made out that he was dead. The bear came up to him and smelled him and turned him over, trying to find out if he was breathing. When he found out the man wasn't breathing, he went off a little ways and watched him. Then he turned back and smelled him again and looked at him closely. At length, he made up his mind, said the man was really dead, and with that, he left for good and went off in the woods. All this time, the other friend, who was squinched up in a tree, was watching what was going on. He was so scared he wouldn't do anything to help his friend or try to run the bear off. When he saw that the bear was gone for sure, he hollered to his friend on the ground, said, "What the bear been telling you? Him and you seemed like you were having a close conversation." Then his friend down below answered, "He'd been telling me never to trust anyone who calls himself a friend and who runs like a coward as soon as the trouble comes." Sometimes our friends disappoint us, don't they? Sometimes we call them friends and they are just acquaintances. I have a friend who always says, "Cleo, you just an acquaintance." I said, "Okay." A friend's a very important person in your life. When you call somebody a friend, that's very important. That means trust. And when you can't trust someone, I guess they're no longer your friend. There's a lot of people we call friends and not going to stand up for us if the bear comes. So we have to watch out for that. The next one, the fox and the goose. Well, crafty plot is revealed in the nick of time. Just in the nick of time. Let's see about the fox and the goose. One day, a fox was going down the road and saw a goose. "Good morning, goose," he said, and the goose flew up on a limb and said, "Good morning, fox." Then the fox said, "You ain't afraid of me, is you? Haven't you heard of the meeting up at the town hall the other night?" "No, fox. What was that?" "You haven't heard about all the animals meeting up at the hall? Why, they passed a law that no animal must hurt any other animal. Come down and let me tell you all about it. The hawk mustn't catch the chicken, and the dog mustn't chase the rabbit, and the lion mustn't hurt the lamb. No animal must hurt any other animal. Is that so?" "Yes, that's so. All live friendly together. Come down. Don't be afraid." As the goose was about to fly down, was off in the woods, they heard a woof, 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 woof. And the fox looked around. "Come down, goose," he said. And the dog got closer. Woof, woof. Then the fox started to sneak off, and the goose said, "Fox, you ain't scared of the good dog, is you? Didn't all the animals pass a law at the meeting not to bother each other anymore?" "Oh, yes," replied the fox as he trotted away quickly. "The animals passed a law, but some of the animals round here ain't got much respect for the law." And off he went. What do you think that was about? You getting any messages in this survival humor? I'm reading them to you because I got a lot out of them. But right now, we're gonna pause a little bit, and I'll come back, and I have a few more to tell you. So I'll be right back.
Hi, and welcome to AccessTV.org. I'm your host from Shaping the Next Generation, Naima Jackson. Welcome to AccessTV.org. We're your hosts, Naima Jackson.
And I'm Elijah Williams.
Thank you for tuning in to Shaping the Next Generation. Today's special guest is Ms. Vicki Gallen-Clark.
Ms. Vicki will stop by on the show to talk about her role in the Blue Hills Civic.
Now, if you haven't heard about Blue Hills Civic Association, you should definitely look into it. It's located on Asylum. Now, if you don't know anything about Blue Hills, you should know that Blue Hills Civic Association, they will definitely help you get a step forward in your future. They'll help you figure out what you want to be in the future, because they definitely helped me. I figured out what I want my career to be. I figured out what college I want to go to, and I figured out what I want to major in. Blue Hills helped me because they helped me learn how to write a resume, a cover letter. They prepared me for an interview to get a job. Blue Hills Civic Association is definitely the perfect program for our youth today. Now, thank you for joining us on accesstv.org. I like accesstv.org because they offer us highlights on our local community that you don't get from Channel 3 or Fox News. They also gave us highlights from sports like track and field. So thank you so much for joining us. And all the youth out there, you should definitely join us at Access TV and definitely check out Blue Hills Civic Association because it will help you, it will motivate you to get out there, look into our programs, and it will help you shape your future.
How do you judge a law firm's success? Cases won, money made, or what the firm does in the community? At Dressler Strickland, we know that success is just the beginning. The true measure of success is what you do with it. For 33 years, we've used our success to help our neighbors and our community. 24/7, 11/22. Whenever you need us, we'll be there. Dressler Strickland, building communities one case at a time.
Welcome back, and I have another survival humor for you. And this one is Brother Lion and Brother Goat. Okay. Brother Lion was out hunting, and he spied Brother Goat lying on top of a big rock. Brother Goat was working his mouth and chewing. Brother Lion creeped up to catch him. When he got close, he noticed Brother Goat good. Brother Goat kept on chewing. Brother Lion tried to figure out what Brother Goat was chewing. He didn't see anything but the naked rock that Brother Goat was lying on. Brother Lion was astonished. Brother Goat kept on chewing and chewing and chewing, but Lion couldn't make it out. He came close and said, "Hey, Brother Goat, what are you eating?" Brother Goat was scared when Brother Lion rose up before him, but he kept a bold heart, and he answered, "I'm chewing on this rock, and if you don't get out of here when I'm through, I'm gonna eat you." When Brother Lion heard that, he said to himself, "If Brother Goat can chew rock, what can he do to me?" And he departed. Brother Goat's big words saved him. He was a bold man, and a bold man gets out of his difficulties. A coward loses his life. Oh, there is a message there. There's a message there. And I think that, I wasn't going to read this one. It's a simple, it's Langston Hughes, and it's Brother Simple who is having this conversation. And you know how Brother Simple is, don't you? Well, I'll kind of read it to you. I wasn't sure, but I guess I will. Have a bold heart, Miss Cleo. Have a bold heart. Adventure is a great thing, said Simple, which should be in everybody's life. According to the Late Late Show on TV, in the old days when Americans headed west in covered wagons, they was almost sure to run into adventure. At the very least, a battle with the Redskins. Nowadays, if you want to run into adventure, go to Alabama or Mississippi, where you can battle with the Whiteskins. Go west, young man, go west, is what they used to say. I say, pioneers, oh pioneers, cried Whitman. Go south, young man, go south, is what I would say today, declared Simple. If I had a son I wanted to make a man out of, I would send him to Jackson, Mississippi, or Selma, Alabama, and not in a covered wagon, but on a bus, especially if he was a white boy. I would say, go, son, go, and return to your father's house when you have conquered. The Whiteskins is on the rampage below the Mason-Dixie line, defying the government, defying free Americans their rights. Go see what you can do about it. Go face the enemy. You would send your son into the maelstream of Dixie to get his head beaten by a white cracker or his legs beaten by police dogs for freedom's sake and adventure. I might even go south myself, said Simple. If I was white, I think it is more important for white folks to have them kinds of adventures than it is for coloreds. Negroes have been fighting one way or another all our lives, but it is somewhat new to whites. Until lately, they did not even know what a colored-only sign meant. White folks have always thought they could go anywhere in the world they wanted to go. They are just now finding out that they cannot go into a colored waiting room in the Jim Crow South. They cannot even go into a white waiting room if they are with colored folks. They never knew before that if you want adventure, all you have to do is cross the colored line in the South. Then, according to you, I said, the Wild West can't hold a candle to the savage South anymore. Not even on TV, said Simple. The savage South has got the Wild West beat a mile. In the old days, adventure was beyond the great divine. Today, they is below the colored line. Such adventures is much better than the Late Late Show with Hollywood Indians, but in the South, nobody gets scalped. They just get cold cocked. Of course, them robes the Klan sports around in is not as pretty as the feathers Indians used to wear, but they is more scary. And though a Klan holler is not as loud as a Indian war whoop, the Klan is just as sneaky. In cars, not on horseback, they come under cover of night. If the young people of the North really want excitement, let them go face the Klan and stand up to it. That is why the South will make a man of you, my son. I would say, go south, baby. Go south. Let a fiery cross singe the bed off your beatnik chin. Let Mississippi make a man out of you. Don't you think white adults as well as white youth should be exposed to this thing, I ask? Of course, said Simple. If the white youth folks go as freedom riders, let the white old folks go as sightseers, because no sooner than they got down there, they would be freedom riders anyway. If I owned one of these white travel agencies arranging sightseeing tours next summer in Niagara Falls, Yellowstone Park, and Grand Canyon and Pikes Peak, I would also start advertising sightseeing tours to Montgomery with the National Guard as guides, to Jackson with leather leggings as protection against police dogs, to Mississippi prison farms with picnic lunches supplied by Howard Johnson's, and to the governor's mansion with a magnolia for all the ladies taking the tour, and a night in jail without extra charge. Negroes would be guaranteed as passengers on all tours, so that there would be sure adventure for everybody. My ad would read, special rates for a weekend in a tropical Mississippi jail. Get arrested now, pay later. Bail money not included. Have the time of your lives, living the life of your times among the Dixie Whiteskins. Excitement guaranteed. For full details, contact the Savage South Tours Incorporated. Jesse B. Simple, your host, wishing you hell. Well, some of you weren't around during the 60s, but he's talking about what the things that happened in the 60s and the happenings, and what would happen if it was the Savage South instead of the Wild Wild West. I could imagine that. I could see that. And I even lived through that. So I hope you got something out of that one. I think not too much time. So oh no, I don't. Okay, I'll do this last one. I got a few minutes and I'm going to do this one. And this is Dick Gregory. How to treat a chicken. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I understand there are a good many Southerners in the room tonight. I know the South very well. I spent 20 years there one night. It's dangerous for me to go back. Last time I was down south, I walked into this restaurant and this white waitress came up to me and said, "We don't serve colored people here." I said, "That's all right. I don't eat colored people. Bring me a whole fried chicken." About that time, these three cousins come in. You know the ones I mean. Clue, Cluck, and Clan. And they said, "Boy, we're giving you fair warning. Anything you do to that chicken, we're going to do to you." About then, the waitress brought me my chicken. Remember, boy, anything you do to that chicken, we're going to do to you. So I put down my knife and fork, and I picked up that chicken, and I kissed it. Thank you. And what do you think happened? Thank you for being with me and enjoying the survival humor. I will be back with you next week. And in the meantime, remember, read a little, write a little, dream big. I'll see you next week.